Hope you guys have been doing well. My name is Trey. My man Chibi is upstairs. And hope you guys welcome us back to YouTube. It's been a long time since I dropped a video here. A really long time, matter of fact. Probably over a year, some change maybe. But yeah, I've just been, really busy with the shop. As you can see, I got tons of plants behind me. So between the plant sales and the house calls that I've been making as far as repotting services, it's been actually keeping me really, really busy. So haven't had a lot of time to do YouTube videos. You can follow me on social media at Instagram and TikTok at the Pot Docs, and you'll see I've been doing more videos there. But it doesn't require as much as a YouTube video. So yeah, I just haven't had a chance to film it. But I assure you I'm going to get back into it. I'm going to try to do at least a video probably once a week, sometimes twice, just depending on my availability. But I assure you I'm going to drop more videos on YouTube. I'm going to try to be a little bit more active, at least for sure once a week. But anyways, today I have probably one of the more, I would say, well-known, popular plants, especially now. A lot of my clients love this particular plant. A lot of them have a lot of their reservations about it because they hear so much about it being really finicky, hard to take care of, or whatever. But I'm here to tell you, it's not that bad if you don't overthink it. It's a pretty simple plant if you just leave it. You know what I mean? But today, we're going to be talking about the Ficus lyrata, a.k.a. the fiddle leaf fig. And we're going to give you guys a couple plant tips, care guide, real quick, 5 or 6 tips, maybe a little more, depending on how long I talk during this video. I have this one, actually, I'm going to get ready for a client. She should be coming to pick this up probably within the next few hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to repot this one and clean it up, fertilize it and all, and get it ready to go out. And while I'm doing so, I give you guys some tips on how to, take care of your plants. Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's go over some of these basic plant care tips for the Ficus lyrata, aka the fiddle leaf fig. First up, we have the basic soil mixture. I don't overthink it when it comes to the soil for this. I basically use the Kellogg's potting mix. I'll add a ton of perlite and some sand to keep the soil from compacting and to, just to increase the drainage of it. You don't want the soil to hold too much moisture, otherwise you're gonna have the plant susceptible to root rot. Next, your lighting. The fiddle leaf fig loves bright light. For my particular plant, I usually just set it by a bright window. For morning sun, I don't typically let it get direct sunlight, otherwise it may burn the leaves. But if you put it next to a bright window that receives about 4 to 5 hours of morning sun, it'll be just fine. You also don't want to move it from that particular window to another location in the house if it's, if you've placed it by that window for some time. Otherwise, it'll get upset and you'll probably start to lose leaves. So once you find the perfect location in your home or apartment, leave it. Do not move it around a lot. When it comes to watering the fiddle leaf, you want to keep it moist, but don't allow it to sit in water or it will likely drop leaves and suffer from root rot. Just the surface of the soil should be drying out between waterings. When you feel the top inch of the soil is dry, it's time to give the plant more water. You can also mist the leaves about weekly or bi-weekly just to keep it, the leaves nice and shiny. And if you notice a little dust build up because they are filters, you can even wipe the leaves down. I typically wipe my plant down, I would say at least every 2 to 3 weeks, but I mist it definitely weekly for sure. Fertilizer. Basically, I keep it simple. I use worm castings and Alaska fish fertilizer. And you can find both of these at Home Depot. They're fairly inexpensive. You get a large amount and a little goes a long way. So yeah, I'll typically, when I'm repotting this plant, I'll add the fertilizer upon the initial potting. And you can add this, the worm castings, I would say at least like maybe monthly or so. It's not a strong fertilizer and it's basically like an amendment for the soil. Also, when watering with Alaska fish fertilizer, I typically do this about every 2 weeks. And yeah, keep it simple, guys. Don't overthink it. Like I say, you can get this from Home Depot and possibly Walmart, but definitely Home Depot for sure. And as for the leaves, These plants are typically toxic to pets, like your dogs or cats. If you notice, if you break off one of the leaves prematurely, you'll notice a white sap that comes out of it. That can be a little toxic to your animals. It probably won't kill them, but it will leave a nasty taste and may make them sick or whatever. So don't let them chew on the plants. Outside of that, man, that's pretty much it. Keep it simple. Don't overthink it. Place it in a nice bright spot in your home and leave it. Do not move it around too much unless you're rotating it slightly to get an even sunlight, So rotate the plant, I would say, once a week. Spin it around so the other side can get adequate light, but don't move it around too much and don't, be too rough with it. They are finicky, but they are simple at the same time. Just set it, leave it, and you're good to go. Watch it grow. All right, let's get into the video.
So first things first, we're gonna go ahead and get this into a new pot. And then what I do is I go ahead and add some fertilizer, and then we'll clean down the leaves and finish up this quick video. I was gonna start out with lighting, but being that I have to repot this plant, we're gonna go ahead and start out with the soil requirements. And this will be my buddy Momo. He's new to the channel. I don't know if you guys can see him over here. What up, dude? All right, get away. Go away. I'll talk to you later. But yeah, so soil requirements. Basically, for the fiddle leaf fig, you can use basic soil mixture. I amended with perlite and some wood chips, small wood chips, just to keep it aerated. You don't want a soggy soil. You don't want to retain too much water, because if it retains too much water, then it for sure is going to start dropping leaves. You may get root rot. You'll get what they call edema. And you can see some of this on maybe like one or two of the top leaves where what the blood vessels inside the plant, it'll absorb a little too much water. And if you've seen, like on some plants, you'll go through guttation where the leaves will expel a lot of the water droplets. You'll see on the side of the plants. But here, this plant here, some of the blood vessels actually pop. It has these little spots, like little red spots in it. You can see them probably here. I'll bring you in for a close-up eventually. But yeah, outside of that, you want to make sure you have a well-drained pot. And I'm going to put it in this planter because she says she has her own pot that she's going to sit it in. So I just wanted to sit it in something sturdy. Has tons of holes in the bottom. And we'll put it into this and then let her sit this in her own pot. Yeah, but as you can see here, let's get you, bring you in for a close-up. As you can see, this plant definitely needs a repot. You can see the roots are coming outside the pots here. Really packed. And you can see the soil that they use here is kind of wood chippy, but it's packed. But yeah, you want a really like free draining soil. You don't want anything like that holds a lot of moisture. Otherwise, you're gonna get root rot. Let's cut this pot down. Here. And being that this is such a finicky plant, I'm not gonna try to shock it. So instead of pulling on it, trying to pull it out the pot, I'm just gonna cut it out. That way I can just sit it right in. And you can go ahead and take some soil, put it down to the base of it, the pot, so that I have something to sit on. And this particular soil brand that I use is called Kellogg. You can find this at Home Depot for sure. I think I've seen it at Walmart, but for sure at Home Depot. It's a large bag. I don't have an example bag in here, but I'll post the picture in the video so you can see it. But it's pretty, I haven't had any complaints or any issues using that particular brand. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. It's just I've always used it since I moved down here in South Florida. And it's worked fine for me. And would be dope if they sponsor my channel. But yeah, I'm not getting any money from them. So, it's just a good soil that I use. And I'm not saying that that's the only soil that I've used. If they don't have it in stock when I have a particular job or service to do, then I'll substitute it with some other things or whatever. I've used the Fox brand from Lowe's. I've used Miracle Grow. It just depends. We all have our preferences. whatever works for you works for you. Just make sure that the soil doesn't retain a lot of moisture. You know, that's about it. Now, at the bottom, we're gonna add some worm castings. We're gonna do this at the bottom, and we're also gonna do this on the top, just to have it, you know, give it a chance to take to the pot and, you know, give it a good start when you're repotting it or whatever. And this particular brand is Earthworm Castings. I have a particular brand, but it's a yellow bag. I get this particular brand from Home Depot as well. I think I paid like $9 for this or whatever. But it's a really good organic fertilizer. Try to stay away from all the other type fertilizers and just stick to, you know, what works. So Earthworm Castings, I use this a lot. So yeah, talked about the soil. Let's go into the lighting. So as you can see here, on my right hand side, I have an east facing window. I live pretty much on the coast. So there's a ton of light comes through these windows here. So basically what I do is I just sit my plants right next to the window. You gotta be careful about lighting because the lighting will burn the leaves if you have it in like too much of the sun. The plant will let you know. It'll start to wither, it'll start to burn. Excuse me, it'll definitely let you know when it's too much sun. But for these plants, they really like bright light, really, really bright light. Not direct sunlight outside, and they probably could take it, but for me, as far as having one inside, I've always placed it by a window, a really bright window. Be careful be careful that the window doesn't magnify the heat and burn your leaves, so you don't want it touching the window more or less, but pretty close to the window to where, it gets plenty of sunlight. And just make sure you rotate the plant. So I usually rotate my plants about weekly, just depending on the types or whatever, just to make sure that they all get adequate sunlight on each side of the plant. And we can talk about watering. Like I say, for me personally, I water most of my plants about weekly. I open my shop every Sunday between 11 and 7 p.m. for walk-ins, for people to come in and purchase plants out of the store, to drop off plants that they need repotted, to pick up plants that they recently dropped off to be repotted. So I usually water while I'm down in the shop working that Sunday. So yeah, and I also have what we call a water meter, moisture meter. You can get these from Home Depot, Lowe's. I'm quite sure Walmart has them as well. And basically, I usually water when I'll stick my meter probably just about halfway. And if it's dry, then I'll water it. If it's still moist, like by the time I put it halfway down, I usually let it go. And once you get acclimated to your plant, you'll know when it needs water or not. It just depends on the environment inside your home or apartment or wherever you have it at. And if you have it in a really bright window, you may not have to, if you have it in a really bright window, you may have to water it a lot more than you would if you have it off from a really bright window. But typically, you want to keep it near something really bright. And you probably want to water this me personally, I would say about once a week. I had some questions about fertilizing. When it comes to fertilizing, like I say, I usually just fertilize with worm castings, and I also use Alaska fish fertilizer. So this stuff here you can pick up from, for sure, Home Depot. Quite sure Lowe's probably sells it as well. No, I'm not sponsored by any of these fertilizers that I'm using. I don't have enough of a following yet on YouTube to get some of the sponsors. But this stuff really works. It works really, really well. And I use it on all of my plants. And I know they say you're not supposed to fertilize all the time, but anytime I water, I typically water with this at least once or twice a month. Not every single watering, but definitely for sure once a month, sometimes twice a month. And you just pour a couple drops in your watering container, you fill it up, and then just water your plants with it. And this is a natural organic fertilizer, fish fertilizer. It's called Alaska fish fertilizer. And this bottle was $16. It's concentrated, so you're not going to use much each time. You're going to use a couple of drops, maybe a teaspoon, to fill up this 2-gallon container right here. So I'm not gonna hold you guys too long on this video today. Like I said, this is my first video in a long time. And for one, I know you guys don't want to sit here and watch a 20, 30-minute video. So I'm gonna try to wrap this up in about 10, 15 minutes. And then we're gonna go ahead and, get this cleaned up because she should be here shortly. All right, so let's go ahead and get this plant sprayed down. Spraying it, spraying your plant, cleaning your plant is very important because it helps you prevent pests. So if you keep it clean, for one, you get to spot any outbreaks before it gets really crazy. So you'll know how to treat it or whatever. Or a lot of this cleaning helps prevent a lot of it as well. So you want to do this probably about every 2 weeks or so. You'll see it if your plant gets dusty or whatever. You'll want to go ahead and clean it and everything. But I simply use dish detergent and water. Keep it super simple. I'm not using anything special. And just spray it down really heavy and just wipe. Now, if you have any, aphids or spider mites that you can't really get rid of by the simple spray, or either your neem oil, where's my neem oil? Neem oil. Then I recommend this Bio Advanced Houseplant Insect and Mite Control. I get this stuff from Home Depot as well. I use Home Depot a lot because it's literally right around the corner from my studio. But this stuff works really well. It gets rid of aphids, spider mites, and fungus gnats as well. But I try to stay organic, but when I have to step outside of the organic realm, that's the stuff that I go to first, simply because it kills it quickly before it spreads to the other plants inside. And you have to get rid of your plant, especially if it's one that you've been growing for a long time and you don't want to get rid of it. So yeah, you have to step outside the norm and take drastic measures. But yeah, when you're cleaning your plant, wiping it down, take one hand, you want to support the bottom leaf, and the other side, the other hand, you just want to wipe. Make sure you're wiping firm, but not too hard. You don't want to lose a leaf. Otherwise, you're going to be upset because these leaves don't grow back, sort of like a pothos or something like this. They grow from the top. So when you lose leaves from the bottom, that's pretty much it. Now you can propagate these by cutting it and just sitting it in a vase of water, and until it roots out, then you can repot it. But once you lose leaves at the bottom, that's pretty much it. And that's why a lot of people hate this plant, because it doesn't grow back at the bottom. You just kind of have like a naked plant down here, and it's just all the leaves up top. But if you water it, keep it watered, keep it by a bright window, these leaves will last for a long, long time. You're going to eventually lose a leaf simply because they don't last forever, but they'll last a really, really long time if you take care of your plant. But yeah, so in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and get this plant wiped down really quick. I'm going to do the first bottle with the detergent and water to get it all clean, to get the dust and everything off from the nursery. And then the second bottle is going to be my water and neem oil. So we're going to get through this really quick. I'm not going to film the whole thing because it's just going to take forever. But after we do this, then we'll come back to the second bottle. All right? See you in a second. Alrighty, so I got that cleaned up. So the next bottle is basically neem oil. Well, it's not even basically, it's what it is. So I use cold pressed neem oil. This is Harris neem oil, and I got this from the nursery actually. But you can use any cold pressed neem oil. This was just on sale when I purchased it. But basically, I just put neem oil, a couple teaspoons of neem oil in a spray bottle full of water. And yeah, shake it up really well and just spray your plant. And this prevents any kind of pest, insects. It treats powdery mildew and a host of other things or whatever. But if you keep your plant clean, wiped down, and shine this right here, it also shines a lot too. You don't have to use leaf shine. You can go and purchase leaf shine if you want to. I've used it before. But I've found that this works really well, just as well as the leaf shine. So you don't really have to go and spend extra money on that when you can just use the neem oil. But this treats, shines, and yeah, just use this. But spray the whole plant down and just wipe it down afterwards. So this is a combination of the Dawn detergent with water. This is what I use first. And then the second bottle is neem oil and water. This is what I use second. And after I do this plant pretty much will be ready to go. Keep it simple. Don't overthink it. Don't go out and buy all these thousands of products. You don't need to do it. Simple products. Dish detergent, Dawn detergent, and neem oil. That's it. And basic potting soil. This bag of organic worm castings lasts me forever. And the fish fertilizer, that lasts forever. And that house plant spray, just in case I get any bugs that I can't get rid of using the neem oil, that lasts for a while too. I keep it simple, guys. You don't have to overthink this stuff. This channel is all about simplicity. Not to make it difficult, not to make it seem as if you can't do it. If I'm doing it, trust me, you can do it as well. I'm not doing anything super duper special at all, I promise you. You just want to spray it down. And get you some napkins, paper towels, and just wipe. And you probably won't have to do this, I don't know, maybe once a month, depending on how dusty your place gets. But typically you're not doing this often. You're not doing this weekly at all. You don't want to do this weekly because it may burn the plants if it's by a really hot wind. So I typically do this maybe once a month. I don't know, maybe a month and a half, just depends on how, dusty it gets or whatever. And you can spray it with the detergent and water. You can do that probably, I don't know, every 2-3 weeks. And it can kind of suffice for you misting the plant as well. So if you're going to clean it with the detergent and water, then you don't have to mist the plant as often either, because clearly you just missed it by doing that. But we're going to work our way around this plant, wiping these leaves, and then finish this job up, man. And then what I do after I finish wiping this down, I go over the tips that I just gave, because I know I kind of babbled off a lot. But it's really simple, really, really simple. Don't overthink it. All right, so let's get through this real quick, and then I'll get right back to you, give you the rundown on the tips, and then we can close this video out. All righty, we are done with this plant. I need to water it. But outside of that, we're good. So let's go over these tips real quick. Lighting, as you can see over here to my right, I have an east-facing window here because I'm literally on the coast. I get a ton of sunlight that comes through this window. I have a huge window here. It's probably about 8 feet, and it goes from that end all the way down to this end of my studio. So I get a ton of light. So basically what I'm going to do, if I was to have this plant here, I would sit it right over here, right by the window. And I would say probably from about 7 to about 11-ish, 12, it's just a ton of light pours through this window here. So it's more than enough light to, to keep this plant doing very well. And if I was to sit it closer to that window, it'll be bright there up until maybe 1 or 2 o'clock. But the noon lighting compared to the morning lighting is a lot different. It's a lot hotter. So I typically like to, have it over here in the morning because it's a lot softer, brighter light versus that excruciating noon lighting. If you have a west-facing window, then you may want to be mindful of having it closer to the light, closer to the window, simply because it's a lot hotter on that side, with the noon lighting or whatever. So just be mindful of burns on the leaves or whatever. Outside of that, just keep it next to a bright window. Watering, keep it simple. I would say water this thing about once a week. If you have one of these pots, you probably won't be able to stick your finger down in it. So get your moisture meter. These things are a couple bucks at Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, any plant place. You can get these for pretty cheap. And you basically just want to stick it halfway in on each side of the plant. And you can see this says moist, but this is simply because of that new soil that I put in. I'm going to go ahead and water this lightly all around to get it to settle into the new pot. Outside of that, once a week watering. Don't overdo it. You don't need to water this thing every single day. I know a lot of you guys like to water plants every day. You will kill your plants quicker by overwatering them than underwatering them. So please do not overwater your plants. Third, fertilizer. Keep it simple. Worm castings, organic fish fertilizer. I use this when I water this probably about once a month. You can do it maybe twice a month if you want to. It's not going to burn the plants. It doesn't burn your roots or whatever. I've never had an issue using this Alaska fish fertilizer since I've started using it. And I've been using this thing for years. Never had a problem out of it. What else? When you repot these things, just typically get a pot that's about 3 to 4 inches bigger than the pot that it was in prior to that. Keep it simple. Don't overdo it. The soil, regular soil would do. I use Kellogg soil. Nothing fancy, nothing special. Like I say, I usually amend it with perlite. Perlite is the little white, little rocky looking stuff inside the soil. You can get that from Home Depot for about $6, $7 for a nice size bag. What else? What else am I missing? Yeah, that's about all I can think of with this particular plant. Spray it down. Detergent, water. I use Dawn dish detergent and water. Like I said, a couple drops in here. I'll say you can go up to maybe like a teaspoon of Dawn detergent and just fill it up with water and just shake it and just spray it. And that's the first step that I use to cleaning these plants. The second bottle, neem oil, cold press, and just fill it up with water. Same thing, probably put like a teaspoon, even 2 teaspoons. You're not gonna kill the plant. And just fill it up with water, shake it up, spray it in white. It'll give you a nice little shine to it, and it also helps prevent pests. Outside of that, man, I think we're done, folks. Stay tuned. Like I said, I will be dropping more videos soon. I'm gonna try to come back to you guys at least once a week with a new video. Outside of that, please follow me on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and even Facebook, even though I post more on Instagram and TikTok at The Pot Docs. ThePotDocs. And yeah, stay tuned. Outside of that, have a blessed day. Don't work too hard if you guys are going your way to work. Don't stress out and enjoy your plants. Love you guys. Peace.